Have you ever wanted to take your custom miniatures to the next level by having even more freedom? Hero Forge have released their new Kitbash feature, which opens up even more possibilities and ways to customize your miniatures in the most creative ways, but these 5 common but devastating design mistakes could completely ruin your experience, and the last one is the worst that could happen. So we're going to go over each mistake and how to avoid or correct your design before the worst happens. My name is Jay, and I'm a professional storyteller, filmmaker, game master, writer, and more importantly, mini enthusiast. And to help, we'll be aided by Lionel here on screen. Say hi, Lionel. So, let's get into it. Now, this may seem like the most obvious mistake to make, but it's so easy to do when getting carried away with kit bashing, and that's having a floating object. It can be a really cool idea to have a spell effect floating around your miniature, but floating objects that are not attached to the main miniature will not print at all, whether you're sending your file to Hero Forge to print or printing them at home. But you can avoid floating objects by creating a strong contact point between the object and the mini itself. Like so. Yeah, maybe he's got some flames coming off of his shoulder like that. That way your object or effect is nicely supported. But what about the supports, and how could a small mistake make your design completely fail? That issue can happen when you have pieces that are only connected by a shoestring. What I mean is that when objects are connected by thin supports like this, so I've got the Zweihander right here, so let's there we go, right on Lionel's ear. When it comes to printing, these thin contacts are highly likely to break off or fail completely. You can sidestep this one by making sure that objects are connected to a sturdy part of the miniature, like this. If I move it over here, and, well, that's going through the shield, but you get the idea. And I know some of you get insanely detailed with your mini designs because I've seen them, and kitbashing will take it even further. However, our third mistake is making objects tiny, like this. Okay, we've got our cheese. Teeny tiny. The problem is when you make objects this small, they'll lose their detail in the printing process, or even worse, if they're way too small, the whole object may be lost completely. So avoid losing objects by, well, not making them too small, like our cheese. It's also worth noting that if you reduce something in size, like a dagger that becomes thin and it's only got one support point pointing straight up, there's a good chance that it won't survive the printing process. Scaling down a weapon or a thin item by even 10% can immediately make it unprintable or so fragile that it'll break during or after the printing process. Fully connect it along the whole shaft to make it printable again, and then check the printability checklist to make sure that you're good to go. But if we go in the complete opposite direction, we get our next big mistake. Now, I'm exaggerating for effect, but long horizontal pieces like this that only have one small support are also at risk of failing printing. This one's easy to correct by making sure that long weapons or items are given a vertical angle as well as a horizontal, or what is known in the technical world of mini design as making it poke up a little bit, like that. It's also worth noting that other items can also fail printing if the object is too big. Fixing this can also help with our next mistake, and this can be the most demoralizing error to make. Picture this: you spend hours meticulously designing your mini, posing, facial features, kit bashing, then you print it and it looks beautiful. Until you go to put it down on its base and the whole mini falls over. You too can avoid this error by correctly weighting your minis in the Hero Forge Designer. Avoid putting your minis too close to the edge of a base or leaving a lot of material leaning towards one of the edges. This will make sure that the center of gravity is over the center of the base and your mini will stand strong. And if you like this video, then you should look at this one here, because the YouTube algorithm says that you'll like it, and hopefully one of the Hero Forge people have been kind enough to put one right here so that I don't look silly.